So now then we got these 4 Bark River knives here, and I polished 3 of them up with flits. Now, get these sheaths off of them 3. I'm going to be using them. I'm showing you the 3 that's polished with flits. Let's show this one here against that one. That's the one that's a Magna-Cut knife that got the tarnishing on the outside. Now that don't go deep down in there or nothing. It's just discoloration like a patina. I wouldn't call it rust or anything, but it's definitely on there. And so I went through that whole thing on my other videos, but there's one that I polished with flits, and that's the same knife that I had polished real good with the baking soda that time. And I'm just showing you the difference here. There's no patina left on the one. That's the only reason I brought this one here now. It's out of the picture now. So I'd had a lot of people comment and say, well, maybe Bark River, maybe they mislabeled the steel. It could be A2 steel and all kinds of things like that. And there'd been a lot of talk back and forth either way about it. Well, I decided just to do a little test. So what I'm going to do, I just got some alcohol here, just regular alcohol. I'm going to wipe these knives, all 3 down with alcohol real good, just to clean them so the blade's completely clean. They're at the same stage about polishing. I polished all of them off down to no patina or anything. This is an A2 knife. There's a little patina still in that fuller, but that's not the part I'm going to be looking at. And here's a 3V knife, and then my Magna-Cut, and I'm just going to put some water and vinegar. I'd looked it up about forced patinas and stuff like that, and I just thought I would just test these 3 metals against each other just to see how they react, because if this was mislabeled A2 or 3V, it should act exactly like A2 or 3V if I do something like that. And it's just a little test I'm running. People were seeming interested if it was mislabeled, and I thought, well, maybe that would tell it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wipe these down with alcohol. Yeah, I'm wiping them down with alcohol, like I said, and starting in on them here, and all I'm doing is just taking regular alcohol. Now the reason I'm doing that is the flits, it was supposed to have a little bit of a protective coating on it that it put on them, and it's supposed to protect from rust a little bit. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the label seemed to tell me. And I thought, well, let me just wipe these knives down totally clean and maybe get what amount of that protection off there I could, or if a little bit of the more of the flits protection will happen to be left on one of the knives than what was on the other ones. I thought this alcohol was a good way just to make everything equal. I'm trying to make everything as equal as I can for the blades as far as how clean they are. And this alcohol is just one extra level of cleanliness that I'm doing to maybe get any kind of protective coating that might have got on there from the flits. Because I'm not interested in testing how good flits protects something from rusting. I'm wanting to test the actual individual metals. Now this is Bark River. All these Bark River. So if I've got some, since I made the first videos, I've been getting some comments and feedback that seem to say maybe that Bark River's Magna-Cut's not stainless, and that I was told that they had said that had always said that it's not stainless, that Magna-Cut's not a stainless steel. I'm not going to go too far into that today, but from what I see, if Bark River's saying that, they're the only ones that's saying that, other than people that's repeating their words, from what I've found out, because all the sources I've looked at said that Magna-Cut's more stainless than 20 CV. And I did a lot of research into it since people commented on it and since I got the knives. And I've done a lot of research before I bought the knives. But I'm testing it today just to see what'll happen, I'm going to lay these 3 knives here. That's going to be A2 3V Magna-Cut. So let me move these to the side. So anyway, I've got vinegar. This is just regular vinegar, distilled white vinegar, nothing to it. And I'm going to mix that with water. Now, why am I doing mixing vinegar and water? Because I've looked up forcing a patina on stuff, and somebody had tried straight vinegar and somebody had tried vinegar and water, and they found that the vinegar and water worked better in their video and this. So that's just what I'm doing, about half and half vinegar and water. Just distilled water, nothing else in there. I cleaned all the stuff before I even double checked and rinsed the measuring cup out and all that, so we got only vinegar and only water, and that's in here. All right, so I'm going to put the vinegar on the ground part right there. I'm not putting it up here on the flat. I'm going to put it right on the grind part. Of course, that one's a lower grind. The A2 is a little bit smoother because A2 polished off a little smoother, and this knife's older and they might have polished their knives a little bit better than they do these now. There's a little more of a satin finish on them, but anyway, this is as close as I can do. And I just got a straw here to use for a dropper. I didn't have a dropper, but like you did in chemistry course when you took chemistry, if you did take chemistry, you can use that just like you would have in chemistry. And all I need to do is drop a few drops right on there. I dropped about 4 drops. Okay, I might have got a little bit. I may have to tip them up a little bit to keep it on there. This is an experiment here. It's staying on them pretty good, but let's see what happens. I'm going to leave it on there, and I'll update you on the progress as it goes. So it's been 15 minutes. I had to prop that one up a little bit with that cap there, but the only thing I'm seeing so far is that the A2 knife over here, the one I know is A2, it's got bubbles in the vinegar and water. These two have no bubbles in there, and I really can't tell anything on them so far. So I'll give it some more time and we'll see what happens. So after 30 minutes, this A2 knife here may be taking a little bit of a patina. Not real noticeable, but if you look real close, it may be. The 3V, nothing that I can tell, and Magna-Cut, nothing that I can tell. That drop that ended up on the flat did join up with that somehow, but anyway, that's 30 minutes. We'll see what happens. Alright, so it's been 1 hour since we put the stuff on there. Looks like this knife's taking more and more of a patina. The A2, 3V, not so much, and Magna-Cut, don't see anything happening. So we'll let it go a little longer. It's been 1.5 hours, and this knife's got a pretty good patina on it. These other two, not so much. I'm going to go wash the knives down and see what they got on them with 1.5 hours of setting in it, and that'll compare at least the A2 to these other two knives. So I washed the knives off and wiped them down with I just washed them off with the water and just dried them. That's all I did. See the A2? Major amount of patina on there from the vinegar and water for sure. Interesting that where it run down and then this got to the air. that it made more of a little bit darker patina than on the other part of the knife. Here's the 3V. Try to get that there in the light a little bit. And you can see there is a little bit different coloration right there where it was after an hour and a half. If I left it longer, it might do more, but there is a little bit of coloration difference right there. Try to get in the light. It's very slight. You got to hold it just at an angle. But you can see it a little bit right there. It might not be as visible on camera. And this one here, same thing. You can see a little bit of coloration difference right there. This matches up with about what the 3V. There's a little bit of coloration difference. I really can't tell any difference in what it did to the 3V and what it did to the Magna-Cut. So definitely this knife here is not mislabeled A2. That's for sure. Now whether or not it could be mislabeled 3V, I guess you could make an argument for that, but anyway, I'll have to do more testing on that, but I did establish definitely this knife here is not mislabeled A2.